Hello, and welcome to a new series we're starting, where we will deep dive into every single subclass in the Crooked Moon book. We're starting with Barbarian and Bard today, and we're going to be ranking them from S to D. We're going to be reviewing each trait and how useful it is in low, mid, and high level play. We're going to be showing example characters I've built, and we're going to be sharing a few stories from my own tables, because I've actually played or DM'd both of these classes before. We're going to be using the 2024 rules because they are the most up to date and they are the ones I currently play with. If you enjoy this video, please hit like and subscribe. It does really help the channel, and I would love to hear in your comments how you would rank these subclasses. Alright, first up, Path of Experiment Barbarian. Okay, so the Path of Experiment is basically a mad lad who's had a few too many syringes stuck in them, either on purpose or otherwise. You're juicing up your rage with all kinds of cocktails pumping through tubes and metal implants under your skin. With this subclass, your body is a second weapon, spraying acid, emitting gas, mechanical limbs, stuff like that. And sure, maybe you did this to yourself because you're a genius/maniac. Or maybe someone else did this to you as some kind of twisted science project. Either way, you're the only person unhinged or stubborn enough to survive this process. The vibe here is very Frankenstein meets Bane. Part mad scientist, part unstoppable primal fury. I played this one myself and had an absolute blast. I ran it as an undead Frankenstein's monster running bodyguard for a fellow squishy spellcaster. It was real fun to roleplay a low-intelligence, terrifying monster of a character, and it led to some pretty hilarious moments, like where I triggered every single trap in an entire tomb and took a grand total of 0 damage doing so. So yeah, I've got some pretty strong opinions about this one. As a barbarian, the core is obviously smacking people hard still, but this one has some really nice utility and is very much constitution-based rather than strength. So here's how it plays at different levels and what you can do with it. Starting low, we're at level 3, we're gaining alchemical experiments. You gain a set of alchemist supplies and you have proficiency with it. Additionally, you can use alchemist supplies instead of a herbalism kit to craft potions of healing. Now, this isn't particularly strong for combat or utility, but this is quite needed for playing that mad scientist vibe, and there's not much to say here, just make as many potions of healing as you can. It'll save your party some money in the long run. Fortunately, that's not all. You also get Volatile Serum, which is really what makes this subclass pop off. With Volatile Serum, you've implanted a series of syringes and reservoirs that hold alchemical serums and deploy them into your body. When you enter your rage, choose one of your serums to inject and gain its benefits. The chosen serum lasts for the duration of your rage, or until you choose a new serum as a bonus action. You have the following options. This is where it gets juicy. Ferocity. This serum throws you into an energized frenzy. You ignore difficult terrain, and when you hit with a melee weapon or an unarmed strike, you can activate the Cleave mastery property, in addition to a different mastery property you're using. Or you can choose Monstrosity. The serum expands your body to monstrous proportions and can change your appearance in cosmetic ways, such as altering facial features, skin tone, and hair length or colour. Your reach increases by 5 feet, and once per turn when you miss with an attack roll that relies on strength, you can add your rage damage bonus to the total, potentially causing a miss to hit. If you are smaller than large, you become large, along with anything you are wearing or carrying. If there isn't enough room to accommodate the size change, your size doesn't change. Or Reconstruction. The serum dulls pain and forces wounds to rapidly knit. Upon activation, and at the start of each of your turns, you can expend and roll a hit die. You regain a number of hit points equal to the number rolled plus your constitution modifier, minimum of 1. You gain any excess beyond your hit point maximum as temporary hit points. If you take fire or acid damage, this serum doesn't function until the start of your next turn. And breathe. Whew, that's a lot of words. Okay. So, first, activating on rage means you're not competing with your action or your bonus action. Especially on the first round, this is really efficient. And each one seems to have a pretty clear goal. Ferocity wants you to get stuck into a big group of enemies. My only gripe with this one is it's a bit limiting in terms of synergy. For example, it's useless if your weapon already has cleave, and actually anti-synergizes a little with weapons that have push or graze, as they knock enemies away or kind of benefit you for missing. I really think you're only getting your money's worth if you're actually using a topple weapon, like a maul or maybe a battle axe and shield build. Maybe I'm judging this harshly, but it is somewhat overshadowed by the other options, which are insanely strong. Monstrosity gives you increased reach and better hit chance. This plays so damn well with Polearm Master. And any reach weapon like a glaive on top of that, you end up with a 20-foot radius threat zone. Who is not in your melee range at that point? Then you've got Reconstruction, which is kind of nuts. It's like a much, much better version of the durable feat. And honestly, it makes sense they had to put in the acid and fire restriction, so DMs have at least a way to kill you, you tanky bastard. My only gripe is that durable is already a very tempting feat for a barbarian. Good for constitution and death saves and healing. This overlaps a lot with that. Also, the other level 3 trait that you get makes potions of healing. That's having those potions kind of feels redundant when you've got this. Sure. Maybe you're giving those potions away to your party, but since drinking a potion is now a bonus action, you basically already have access to a per turn heal if you need it. Still, maybe you just don't want death to be on the cards, in which case, do all these things at once and reconstruct away. Just try not to get chill touched. Alright, at level 6 we've got another wordy one, so strap in. Through continued experimentation, or maybe just your natural adaptation to all the syringes you've shoved in yourself, you can now activate one of the compound options below, in addition to a serum, whenever you activate your rage, or when you swap your serum. This compound lasts for the duration of your rage, or until you pick a new one. Here are your options. Stimulated senses. You get blind sight out to 30 feet. If you already have blind sight, unlikely, but sure, you tack on another 30 feet to your range. Maddening fumes. Your skin starts pumping out aggression-spiking fumes in a 30-foot radius. While enemies are inside this cloud, their speed is halved. If they start their turn there, they have to make a wisdom save, DC 8 plus your constitution and proficiency, or they get disadvantage on attacks against anyone that isn't you. Basically giving you a low-key sanctuary aura. Corrosive expulsion. When you take the attack action, you can swap out one of your attacks to spray acid from your implants. You pick either a 15-foot cone or a 30-foot line. Anyone in the area makes a dexterity save. You roll d8s equal to your rage damage bonus, and they take acid damage based on the total, or half on a successful save. The fact that these work on top of your level 3 features instead of replacing them is so cool. It's like Build-A-Bear Frankenstein's monster. I think that's exactly what they were going for here, though. Stimulated senses is one of the things that can be anywhere from completely useless to absolutely clutch. It's going to depend a lot on your DM and on your campaign. I won't rate this one in a vacuum. If you need blindsight, you have it, which is nice. Maddening Fumes pairs perfectly with going large using Monstrosity, and giving your teammates a sort of weaker sanctuary effect is just, chef's kiss. It's also fairly situational, but you'll be damn glad you have it when the time comes. Corrosive Expulsion, in my opinion, is the best and the most fun of the bunch. Thank heavens they worded it so that it replaces just one of your attacks, not the whole attack action. Oof. I'd compare this to having a souped up Tasha's Caustic Brew. Swapping an attack for an acid spray is just really cool. And if your enemies are resistant or immune to acid, no problem, you're not locked in. Just switch it to something else. Between this and the volatile serum options from level 3, you are so much more flexible than pretty much any other barbarian subclass at this level range. The level 10 feature, Reactive Catalyst, is honestly the low point for this subclass, which kind of just speaks volumes about how good this is as a whole. Your implants are now sensitive to danger and flood you with stimulating chemicals whenever you take damage, or when you gain the blinded, deafened, poisoned, or stunned condition. You can use your reaction to enter your rage before the damage or condition is applied. When you enter your rage, this way, you immediately end those conditions on yourself, including whatever just triggered it. Additionally, while you're raging, you have advantage on Constitution saving throws. Preempting first turn damage with Rage's damage reduction is cool, but it's really only relevant if you're low on the initiative tracker. Even if we generously say that half of all fights you're being hit before you get a turn, what are the odds that you get hit in round 1 with damage that you can reduce with Rage, or one of those effects that you can remove? It feels pretty unlikely. After the first round, all this feature does is gives advantage on Constitution saves, which is nice, but you're already proficient, and your Constitution score is going to be through the roof with this subclass. Maybe there's some galaxy brain scenario where you take the alert feat so you can swap initiative with a low-rolling party member and try and increase the chances of this all coming up, but honestly, we're just grasping at straws at this point. Level 14 brings it back a notch, with biochemical admixture. Your body focuses and combines the strength of your serums. When you activate a volatile serum, you activate 2 options instead of 1. Additionally, when a creature within 5 feet of you damages you with a melee attack, while your rage is active, they take 1d12 acid damage. Each creature can only take this damage once per turn. Man, I love the alien acid blood trope. And the fact it doesn't cost a reaction is so funny to me. Just pure stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself energy. Sure, 1d12 max per creature per turn is not going to win you a fight, but I'm here for it. It's a nice consistent bonus. It gives you some cool roleplay opportunities as well, like the healer getting sprayed with acid or bandages just not working on you. Taking 2 of your level 3 options at once might feel kind of lackluster on some subclasses, but these serums are so cracked. I think it's fantastic. You can get massive, ignore terrain, cleave, boost your hit chance, all at the same time. Yeah, it might be more of the same, but in this case, same is good. Like, really good. Smash everyone's face in while burning them alive with acid good. So, overall, I'm rating Path of Experiment a solid high A tier. Just not quite making S. It's easily one of the most flexible and fun barbarian subclasses I've seen. You've got a ton of options that actually feel different. The acid blood is hilarious, and the builder monster vibe is just really unique. The level 10 feature is a little underwhelming, but everything else just more than makes up for it. If you like the idea of being part raging berserker, part unhinged science experiment, this is definitely worth a try. Next up, we've got the College of Whistles Bard. Alright, so the College of Whistles is a classic wandering bard, except haunted, and they brought friends to the fight. The idea is that whistling can call spirits back from the other side, and these bards lean very much into that. They travel constantly, collecting stories and ghosts, like they're stitching together a patchwork cloak of supernatural folklore. If you've ever wanted to be the creepy minstrel who can whistle up supernatural backup, this is your jam. Also, trains. But we'll get to that. At level 3, you get access to handy haints. You can call forth handy haints, basically little vagabond spirits to follow your allies around. When you give someone bardic inspiration, you also summon a ghostly apparition that drifts around them in a 15-foot emanation. The haint sticks around for a minute, or until you summon a new one, or until you use the reaction it grants you. You get to pick which haint you call: Grump, Sad Sack, or Scamp. The Grump is a cranky red-tinged ghost that shouts at everyone to try harder. Allies in the aura get advantage on intimidation checks and strength saves. Plus, when a creature inside deals damage, you can use your reaction to add extra damage equal to your bardic inspiration die and your charisma modifier. The Sad Sack is a blue, melancholic spirit that sucks the fun out of the room. Allies get half cover against range attacks, and you can use your reaction to reduce incoming damage by the same bardic inspiration plus charisma amount. The Scamp is a gold, childlike spirit that speeds everyone up. Allies that start their turn in the aura get plus 10 feet of speed, and if they fail a saving throw, you can use your reaction to let them reroll. This feature's very roleplay heavy and very flavorful. You basically get your own little helpful NPCs floating around the battlefield. All 3 options are quite solid, although they do rely on your party sticking together to get the most benefit. In my experience, that only happens at lower levels, but quite a bit, especially when you're all crammed into basements and tight caves. At higher levels, your group might spread out more, so this could end up only affecting 1 or 2 people. But even then, picked correctly, it's going to have its uses. Having that early game, once per round, d6 plus charisma damage boost or reduction is pretty nice. But I can't help feeling that until level 5, when you start regaining all your bardic inspiration on a short rest, you're going to feel pretty limited in how many times you can use this. I will preface this review by saying bards are quite tricky to evaluate. Even without any subclass features, their kit is kind of ridiculously strong. So with that in mind, having a low-level flexible ability that can add damage, reduce damage, or reroll saves is pretty good. Pretty good. I do think this feature probably falls off a bit at higher levels. The damage, resistance, and number of people covered probably falls off. Let's hope this subclass has some juice later on to make up for that. The other level 3 feature, as if you needed another one, is Whistling Wanderer. You've shaped the superstition of whistling to the dead into a potent instrument. You get the following benefits. Wanderer's Bindle. When you finish a long rest, you can touch any non-magical bag or sack and turn it into a magical container called a bindle. It works exactly like a handy haversack. If you make a second one, or your bindle is more than a mile away from you, or you die, it loses its magic and all the stuff inside just spills out to the nearest unoccupied space. Whistled spells. You also gain the ability to whistle spells. You can whistle instead of speaking when you cast your bard spells. And if someone doesn't know about this tradition, they have to make a DC 15 Arcana check to realize you're even casting magic. Both of these things are quite campaign or DM dependent, but man, I wish every spellcaster had access to these. A free bag of holding basically, and the ability to obfuscate your spellcasting can go quite a long way. It would be really nice if this was a feat I could just slap onto anyone. So, yeah, it's a solid trait. No complaints here. Next up, at level 6, we've got Homeward Bound. You can whistle to conjure a ghostly train that returns you and your party to a known destination. When you finish a long rest, you can leave a mark at that location, paint or chalk or carving, whatever you want, although it can be destroyed or removed. After that, you can use this feature to cast Teleportation Circle, using that mark as the destination. When you do, a phantom train shows up and scoops everyone away. You can't use this again until you finish another long rest. You have a minimum number of marked locations equal to your charisma modifier, and if you try and mark too many, you choose which old mark to get rid of. Additionally, when you hit level 9 in Bard, you always have Teleportation Circle prepared, and can use any of your marks as destinations when you cast it. And just like that, bam! A train, out of nowhere. Thematically and mechanically out of place. Teleportation Circle is super situational. Honestly, pretty useless in most campaigns, especially the mid-level ones from 6 to 10. I have to question when you're actually going to use this in a typical game. It's basically a 0 out of 10 for usefulness. For flavor, sure, 10 out of 10. All aboard. Also, speaking of flavor, ghost trains definitely don't fit into every setting, so keep that in mind. You might need to reskin this if your campaign doesn't have any trains. I've got some suggestions for that later, but we'll get to that. There's also Ride the Rails. You can whistle as a magic action to summon a spectral locomotive. It blasts forward in a 120-foot line that's 10 feet wide. It goes through objects and creatures. You and up to 6 winning creatures within 30 feet of you can hitch a ride. You teleport to any unoccupied space in the line, and everyone you bring appears close to you. Each other creature in the line has to make a wisdom save or get deafened until next turn, be pushed away 10 feet, and take 3 rolls of your bardic inspiration die in psychic damage. Once you use this, you can't do it again for a long rest unless you burn a 3rd level or higher spell slot to refresh it. So for all intents and purposes, I'm going to treat this like a 3rd level spell that you can cast free once per day. When you look at the numbers, you're talking about 3d8 damage line that's 10 feet wide, with some mild control effects. Sure, it's half the damage of Fireball, and Deafened is kind of a joke of a condition, but the flexibility is here. I mean, you can damage a whole group of people, you can shove them around, you can teleport yourself and friends up to 120 feet. There's utility to that. It's just so many things all rolled into one spell, and kind of makes this a genuinely solid feature. Plus, at least this train arrives on time. If your campaign isn't exactly big on ghost trains, you can reflavor these to be animal stampedes or, my personal favourite, a ghostly horse-drawn carriage. Whatever fits your world, really. Jumping up to level 14 then, you get Last Stop. The ghostly shrill of your whistle now draws the living closer to the world of the dead. As a magic action, you blow a whistle that's audible up to 300 feet away. Up to 6 creatures you can see within that range must make a charisma save against your spell DC, or be cursed. When a cursed creature takes psychic damage, it becomes frightened of the source of that damage until next turn. The first time a cursed target takes psychic damage, it has vulnerability to that damage. At the end of each of its turns, the target can repeat the save to end the curse early. If it somehow doesn't end, it automatically ends after 1 minute. Once you use this, you can't do again until a long rest, unless you burn a 7th level or higher spell slot to refresh it. Wow. This feature's pretty bad, right? Ugh, I hate to say it, but you might not even use the free cast that you get of this any day, any fight, let alone spend a 7-level spell slot to do it again. Let's break it down. You target 6 creatures, and they get a chance to save, or they get super vulnerability to the psychic damage. Sorry, the next instance of psychic damage they take. But they also get to reroll that save every turn. So, why are you taking a whole turn off to do this? By your next turn, every enemy has had at least 2 chances to shrug this off. And that's before you even factor in legendary resistances, which are just everywhere at this level of play. Okay, I hear you cry. But in Magical Christmas Land, I can cast this right before my wizard buddy drops weird for 10d10 double damage. I mean, yeah, sure. Yeah. But that relies on multiple failed saves, level 9 spell, the correct initiative order, and weird already does the frightened part of this. It's just so many hoops for something that, in most cases, is just going to eat up your turn and then basically do nothing. I don't know what they were thinking with this. Look, overall, this subclass just isn't doing it for me. I'm sure you could play it and have a great time. Role-playing the Haints, sending ghost trains to run people over, teleporting a party around like you've got fast travel unlocked. And if that's your vibe, more power to you. But honestly, everything after level 3 feels quite skippable. You could leave out half these features and still have a fun class to play. Just, look, I'm not doing separate ratings for low-level play here, but if I did, this would definitely get a massive bump. Those first few abilities are really solid. As a whole, though, I'm gonna have to give this a C. It's kind of a D, but it's carried by some all-purpose early-game traits that are pretty cool. This is an unfortunate whiff on a really cool concept. Well, that's it for now. Next episode, I'll be covering the Cleric and Druid subclasses. Let me know in the comments how you'd rank these, or if you've played any of them yourself. And if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe. It takes a long time to make videos like this, it really does help. Thanks for watching, I will catch you next time.